His mausoleum, so a fantastic war museum as well over there. So as a
This is a family trip, and as you can see, my family, instead of going to the restaurant that the rest of the group went to because we were doing this as part of a tour, we brought our own lunch. And we actually made our lunch from breakfast because all of the breakfasts were buffets. And so my parents were like, no, we're not going to spend money on that. We are going to make our lunch and then eat it somewhere away from the group, obviously, and then just walk around the town when we stop for our lunch break. And so things like this, I've kind of internalized a lot growing up and like starting to travel on my own because I'm like, well, I'm not going to spend money on certain things that may necessarily not have to. And so I really do this a lot too, where now with my partner, when we travel, we'll, make lunch and have that like when we just take like a little break from walking around and everything and then continue on our day. And so that's what we did here. And then we did meet up with the rest of the group. And this little town, Gelibolu, was pretty cute. Welcome to Troy. Okay, so this has been a place that I've been wanting to go to for the absolute longest because who has not read the story of Troy, right? And so I did record things in the moment while I was there. Unfortunately, all of the sound did not save. So I'm going to try to recall some things from memory. Of course, it will not be perfect, but I will do my best. So Troy, the location of Troy, although it is super important historically and in literature and everything like that, the actual location now, almost everything has been, like just torn down. Like there's basically nothing left to really show the remnants of like what the city would have looked like. There are obviously like AI type creations that show us like what it could have been and everything like that, but the city itself is, as you can see, completely destroyed and you can't really make out much of like what happened or anything, but at the beginning is that replica of the Trojan horse that would have entered Troy way back when. I love that instead of walking on the actual remnants of, what's left, they did build this ramp so that way you could walk over it and not on it. So that way we're not causing more destruction and everything to what is left of the ruins, which, as you can see, isn't much. This was very interesting because this is actually one of the oldest houses in Troy. So it was actually found while they were excavating, and so it is lower than what would have been built then on top. Like so many layers were built on top of it, but the more people were excavating, they saw that this is probably one of the oldest houses that they had here. I feel like here you really have to use your imagination because you're going to have to try and imagine what it is that things look like. I love that there were these little like placards showing you like what things were and like what they were used for and everything, but you still have to use a bit of your imagination to kind of have a better idea of what it could have looked like and be prepared for lots of sun. So bring water, bring a hat, wear sunscreen because it gets very hot here. Coming up here is one of the entrances into Troy. So there's a ramp, so you can see how chariots and horses would go up or down these ramps to be able to enter the city. So I love that it's still conserved a bit. Obviously, not what it would have been like before, but it gives you an idea of like how grand things were and the planning that would go into the cities. Historical places are always so interesting to me because you can see like what they look like now and how, either well or not well preserved they were. And then always an idea of like what they would have looked like back then, which is crazy how architecture and like all of these different things worked when the technology that we have nowadays didn't exist back then. And, obviously not everything is preserved that great or anything, but even here you can see like the bottom layer is fits so much nicer than the top layer. So it makes me think like when was that top layer kind of built over it and everything. But theater that would have been used, for theater at the time and just to have presentations of like entertainment, I'm guessing for the royals and everything. So they still have it pretty well conserved actually, so it could be used. It's definitely a lot smaller than I guess I would have thought it to be, but I've always wanted to actually not partake in one, but like see a show done in one of these types of theaters because I feel like that would be pretty cool to see. We are here at a supermarket here in Turkey. This is apparently one of like the bigger ones here, especially the 5M Migros is like one of the biggest. It's supposed to be kind of like a Costco type of situation. So we are going to see what we find. I like finding like really unique things. So let's see if like, we can get some candies or something like that. Like you can't really see anywhere else. So let's find. I shared a full video on my whole experience here at the Migros in Canakkale. So I'm going to link the video over here on the side so you guys can see it and kind of see our whole experience of like what, visiting the supermarket was like.
Thank you. Puedes ver que sea tu amiguita, no la esposa.
¿Qué comido? Dijo que su esposa. Como carne molida, como si fuera este rellenito. ¿Eso fue lo primerito?